Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd come back I'm still on essays at the moment. Uh, but something I realized when I did my last list of 30 that I more or less missed out science essayists. So I've got a 10 list here of 10. Again, they're not, the only order that they're in is from birth date. And you might be surprised that all but one are from the 20th century, born in the 20th century, and uh, three, yes, three are still alive. Some of them, you might argue that they didn't really write too many essays, but I'm sort of will disregard that because they are essayists. They have written essays and even larger works, and sometimes video type essays. I will stretch the term. So we start out with John Burroughs, an American naturalist, born 1837, died 1921. Uh, Probably a few dozen books. He wrote a lot of uh, essays on birds and other animals. Just sort of yeah, naturalist type material. It's really really good. He was sort of one of the pioneers of conservationism. Is that a word? Um, yeah, I really like him. I haven't read him in a long time. And also, too, I don't have any props for this. I made a list. It's on my phone here. Then we got Jacob Bronowski, 1908 to 1974. Now, Ascent of Man is a television series or documentary that was done on the BBC. It is fabulous. And I'm counting that as sort of essays, but he also did write other essays. Um, but The Ascent of Man is a work of art um, in book form and in video form. And, um, and it was sort of instigated and sort of done by another author that comes up a bit later. But yeah, Jacob Bronowski, just fabulous. There's a few scenes in that series where he's at Auschwitz or another. It's a long time since I've seen it, so I do beg your pardon. But he's sort of standing in sort of muddy water, sort of groundwater, and he sticks his hands into the mud, and it's sort of black mud, and it comes up, and he's saying, he's talking about how, that mud is the ashes of from the death camp, from the in the Jews that were burnt. Sorry, I'm still getting over this brain fog from the heat. But yeah, it's just fabulous. And he's a fabulous writer too. He also wrote poetry. Another one is Lewis Thomas, 1913 to 1993. I'm pretty sure I think I might still have a copy or two of his book, but it's just sort of I'm trying to remember the name of this one. It's Notes of a Biology Watcher. Is sort of the subtitle. Very very thin book, but just fabulous, fabulous essays. And he wrote a couple others, and it was sort of late night thoughts while listening to Mahler's 10th Symphony, I think. It's just fabulous stuff. I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember rereading those over and over again. Medusa and the Snail was another one. Very influential books and extremely, extremely entertaining to read and just to ponder, the thoughts that he puts into these short essays that are just absolutely fabulous. Now, the next one is sort of no surprise, is Isaac Asimov, 1920 to 1992. He wrote, like he was a popularist, popular writing, but he wrote, I forget how many essays, like about 1,500 or so essays in total. And for a long time, he wrote a science article for the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And every month there was something he wrote on mathematics, every branch of science, and other essays as well. But his science essays are fabulous, and they're collected in multi volumes on chemistry, physics, you name it, branch of science, and he'll have an essay on it, and they're very good. Now, the next author is the one that's related to Jacob Bronowski, and it's David Attenborough, born 1926, and still with us. Again, somebody might argue that he hasn't really written too many essays, but I'm saying yes, he has, because his like Zoo Quest ones, like some of them are anthropological, but and even chapters that are sort of go with his documentaries are in essence essays in of themselves, because they usually deal with one topic. At least that's how I'm going by this. And he was instrumental in getting Jacob Bronowski's Ascent of Man made for BBC when he was controller, as well as many other documentaries that were fabulous documentaries around that time. Now we got Carl Sagan, 1934 to 1996. And his essays, like Broca's Brain, is fabulous collection of essays. There was one, I think, that was done posthumously. It's a short one. And then there's the Demon Dark or World. It's like fabulous essays. And also, too, a longer essay, the Dragons of Eden, about the speculation of human intelligence. And that is just a longer essay and just absolutely fabulous. Another one, Jane Goodall. She's still with us, 1934. She was born. Now, this one, it may be a little controversial for essay-wise, but I still will put her in because her writing is just fabulous. Whatever she's writing about is just absolutely fabulous. She studied the chimpanzees, in that was what she was chosen, and she was called one of the primates of Louis Leakey, along with Brooke Gladagos, who studied or is studying orangutans in Southeast Asia, and then also Diane Fossey, who was studying the gorillas, and they were sort of chosen by Louis Leakey. And another one, James Burke, born 1936. He's still with us, and just fabulous essays. Like this is where, like, a lot of it was sort of visual essays in his documentaries. The Day the Universe Changed, Connections. But they're little essays making connections through time, and most of them are related to science. And he reported on for live on TV the moon landing, just so much stuff. He is just absolutely fabulous. And then we got Stephen J. Gould. This is the second one, if we're going from 10, 1941 to 2002. Multiple volumes of essays that were originally published in Nature, and they are just absolutely fabulous. I don't have any of his books here in the UK. I just actually haven't found any. I haven't gone out to order online, but I just haven't seen any in bookshops. But they're absolutely fabulous. Now, number one is the latest born, but is Stephen Hawking, 1942 to 2018. Now, again, may not be considered an essayist so much, but I'm putting him in here because of the books that he wrote, and they are essay-like. And there are obviously a lot more science essayists than what I'm putting down here. But again, these are sort of my favorites that came to mind after I did my last 30 essayists and realized, ooh, I don't have scientists in here. And I've tried to keep ones that are, not technical or academic so much. Even though, like Stephen Hawking and Stephen Jay Gould sort of veer onto that more scholarly rather than light essays. But yeah, so do you have any favorites of scientists or science essayists? Maybe others that I can look into that I'm not actually familiar with, or that I missed and completely forgot about. Anyway, take care, BookTube, and who knows, there might be more top 10s.